Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It's Wednesday, November 1st, and we have snow on the ground here in the North Country. Yes, I woke up this morning. It's not going to last. Supposed to get to 39 and back up in the 50s Friday, and then now next week is upper 40s, low 50s. November and upstate New York, I'll take it. I mean, I take warmer weather year round at this point. I mean, I don't snowmobile anymore, so all I gotta do is just feed the cows and trudge through the snow. So what are we going to talk about today? Well, I spent a little while yesterday afternoon putting together a video that I hope will be helpful um, to you guys that are just starting out, and some of the supplies that I think would be good for your shop. Everything from fuel filters to oil filters. I try to give part numbers, and it's a basic group of supplies that will fast move through your shop. Spark plugs. I forgot shop rags, so if you're watching this and you see the video later today, the shop rags are not there, but they're handy as heck. Even if you take some of the old t-shirts and stuff that are no longer any good to the house and just take scissors to them, we've done that before. But I thought today we would talk about the difference between expectations, setting expectations, and goal setting, because there is a difference and people get confused with it. And this is going to relate to what's going on in your life, to what's going on in your business, and everything in between. All right, so we'll be right back. All right, so why are we talking about goal setting and expectations? Well, because people get those confused. You know, when I was growing up, I probably had more people have expectations of what I should be doing and being and getting to plateauing than I did. You know, a lot of people will set high expectations, and then if they don't achieve that, they melt down. And they become basically immobilized because they feel they can't do anything because they didn't meet the bar. The first thing I want you to do is pretty much throw away expectation. Unless you use it in a different sense, a different meaning. Meaning, I have expectations of trying to be at point A, point B, and I'll reevaluate when I get there. And that's kind of like goal setting, right? Goal setting is you set a goal, and you know along the way, unless you have really researched your goal, you're going to have roadblocks. And you're going to have, off-road, bumpy road detours. And in life, we have to work around those detours and those roadblocks. If you set an expectation that's too high and you don't achieve it, you deem yourself a failure. And once you deem yourself a failure, you start to get into this cycle that you're a failure at everything. When the only thing that you failed to do or did was you set your expectation too high where it was unachievable at this time. It's like saying that I had the expectation of being a rocket scientist in 3 years. Even though I have I'm a highly intelligent person, but my mind doesn't work that way. I went to school and got my bachelor's in programming and stuff, and it's talking a different language and zeros and ones. And I talked to you the other day about Ross, that he was top of his class at MIT, and what he ended up having to do was come and live a simple life because it got too much for him. And then I've got this other friend that I just talked to yesterday. His name is Andrew, and I kind of mentored him, fathered him. He and I went to college together. You know, he was fresh out of homeschooling. Super bright kid. Super, super bright. I knew he was going places because at the time we were helping, you know, companies like Norton and Microsoft, and they were asking us, Google, they were asking us to find holes in their systems and then give them the patch so they could keep their systems being impenetrable. And we would sit there for hours just probing and looking for ways that we could either put a virus in or gain entry, ghost, by email, you know, what have you. But I had lost touch with him for about a year and a half. And we always got along great, Andrew. But he got a hold of me yesterday, and he wanted to know if I could help him find a piece of property that was, 8 to 10 acres. And he wanted to build a camp on it. And he wanted to be able to bring his 4 boys hunting. I said, 4 boys? Where'd you get 4 boys? But he's got the 4 boys, and he's working for a rapid response team that, a lot of times when these hospitals and governments get ransom, where they lock their systems down and you got to pay the ransom or they're not going to release it, these guys come in and they unlock it. That's how smart they are. And that's the tools they have. And like he said, I said, how big a property do you want? And he said, just something that I can take the boys and fly in and, come hunt. The real answer is, why don't you just go hunt with me, Andrew? Bring the boys and we'll have a good time. But he is also, he normally doesn't get along well with others because he thinks a whole different way. And that's okay. Him and I, like I say, we hit it off. I had expectations on him that he would go far, and he did. And he has. The big thing is in that field, how long can you hold it without crashing? Because it's a highly stimulating to your brain. All right, so for me to set an expectation that I'm going to be a rocket scientist in 3 years is asinine. I don't think that way. I don't want to be that way. I don't want to be a rocket scientist. But I think a lot of younger folks out there, and if you're listening, hopefully you'll take something away from this video, and that is, excuse me, that just because you didn't get to where you thought you would be or where everybody thought you should be does not mean you should give up and stay out of the job market and just sit around and take up space and feel sorry for yourself. You need to put your big boy pants on and hit the ground running and get a job, get some money coming in, get a better job as it comes along, get the things you want with the money you earned. There is something to be said about self-worth. I mean, I appreciate people that give me something, but I appreciate it more if I've earned it, if I've worked to get to that point. Does that make sense? So, if your expectations or people's expectations of you were set high and then COVID come along and now you feel like you're a failure and you're not willing to try anything, you need to get back in the game, guys. and gals. Seriously. And if you're a parent or a grandparent of one of these, 20 to 35, 40-year-olds that are living at home, have them watch my video. Because they really need to hear this. They're not a failure. They didn't cause COVID. COVID caused them to tailspin. And now it's time to get your boots on and get out there and get back in the game that we call life. What most people fail to realize is when you have expectation and goals, it's the journey to those. This should be the most memorable for you. So don't go so fast that you can't enjoy it while it's happening. Again, it comes back to, with me, I'd rather earn and buy my stuff, and I have more, what's the right word? If you take a rich kid, give him a fancy car that I couldn't afford even now, and he crashes it, and you just replace it, what are you teaching? What is that kid's self-worth? He didn't earn nothing. And he didn't learn by anything. And he wasn't grounded or, But to me, that kid is the biggest loser in the game, because he hasn't got people that love him and put him out there and make him earn what he needs to earn to become productive in society. But like I say, if you set too high a expectation on yourself, a lot of times you fail. And then a lot of times, most people do. They give up. So instead of setting high expectations, I want you to set expectations that are achievable, right? Not a rocket scientist in 3 years. But if I wanted to increase my business by $10,000 a year, that would be achievable, all right? But I could also do that through goals. And I could set through my goals, which I approach different than my expectations, my goals, I could set waypoints along the map to where I want to be in a year. So for me, it's better for me to set the goal of achieving the extra 10 grand than it is to put an expectation that I have to get the 10,000, if you know what I'm saying. But like I say, a lot of times it's other people's expectations of us, and it's not our own expectations. And sometimes parents have too much of over expectations of their children, and you need to let your child be your child, and you need to let your child grow and embrace the world, embrace people from all walks of life. Nobody's different here. Nobody's any better or any worse. And your child will excel. But if you're constantly berating your child because they're not meeting up to your expectations, you need to back your ass off and back your expectations down on your child. Let your child be your child. Really. I guess the point that I'm trying to make is the only time that you're a failure is when you stop trying. Okay? As long as you're trying, to get to your goals and your expectations, then you're still in the game and you still have a chance. But if you just simply give up, you give up on yourself, on your family, what have you, then I feel bad for you, because you're missing so much stuff, so much great stuff that is going on that you're not seeing, and that you're not feeling fulfillment. You're just kind of there. So how does this all relate to business and small engine repair per se? Because like I tell you guys, business is business. It doesn't matter whether you're starting a repair shop for lawnmowers, you're starting a lawn care business, and looking to put employees on, a mobile service company, to a carpenter, to a general contractor. What I'm trying to explain is that with business, it crosses party lines per se. And when I say crosses party lines, the same ideas and the same techniques apply no matter what business you want to start. I know with my skill set, I could get into any business I want and make it profitable. And when I say profitable, it's paying all the bills, no debt, and there's at least $1 profit at the end of the year, the fiscal year. Now, it may take me a couple of years to get it to that point, but I know I can do it based on the skill set that I have. And that's what I'm trying to teach you guys, especially you younger guys that are getting into it. The skill sets that you're going to need to achieve your expectations and to achieve your goals. I know that each one of us are individuals, right? I try to explain to you guys that out of 6 to 7 billion people, there's only one of you. You're unique. And the way you approach something could be totally different than the way I approach it. But the end results could very much be the same. And that's because you're using a different skill set than what I'm using. But in the end, it's the same skill set. It's just how we approach it. Now, with your goal setting and your expectations when it comes to starting a small engine repair business or a lawn care business or what have you, you need to think longevity. That's where most people can't get to, and that is they want instant gratification because that's what we're taught with our phones. It's like these shorts that are out there on YouTube, Facebook. It's just instant. You try to get an instant thrill or instant laugh. And then you're on to the next, and the next, and the next. And you're programming your body to think that it has to have that instant gratification constantly. And that's not how real life and business works. You don't have that constant instant gratification. You have at periods through longevity, you have that sense. But it's not there all the time. And what I get at is when you start that business, I want you to start it as cheaply as possible. And remember to enjoy the journey. Most people set a goal or an expectation and it's not that high and they get to it really fast and the expectation that they're going to feel that instant stimuli of, instant gratification isn't there because it's like, now what? And then they try something else and they get to that goal. Now what? They're not filling that part inside that you need to fill because they're not enjoying the journey to get there. Now with me, when we started off with 0 parts online and then up to $1 million in parts online, I enjoyed more of the journey getting there than I did when we achieved that, if that makes any sense. Some people, all they think of is the end, and the beginning and the end, and they don't take the time to enjoy the middle. And that's the same thing with expectations, that you set these expectations, and then if you don't get to it, you automatically label yourself as a failure, because I can tell you right now, we are our own worst enemy. We are. It's not somebody else telling us that we're a failure. It's when we tell ourselves we're a failure. Yeah. We are our own worst enemies. So if you find yourself achieving goals quickly and you're not getting that gratification and you're still longing for something else, you need to set longer, harder goals to get to, for one. And you need to enjoy the journey from point A to point B. If you're going from New York to Florida, if all you concentrate on is driving nonstop to Florida, you've missed the journey. But if you stop off at different places and, to eat, to stay, maybe monuments or what have you, you've now created a journey along the way, is what I'm getting at. So, getting back to business, all right. You need to set goals of what you want to achieve, and you need to have waypoints along the line. And you also need to set certain expectations of where you would hope to be by a certain point. And then when you get to that point and you're not there, then you need to reevaluate, not give up, not deem yourself a failure, reevaluate what's going on, and do I still want to be at where that expectation is? Do I still want to achieve the $10,000 at the end of the year? Or should I set it lower or should I set it higher? It depends on when I come in to that expectation and that goal, where I'm at. So I hope this has kind of helped some of you guys. I want it so that it takes all the pressure off. You put too much pressure on yourself and you burden yourself with a bunch of, I call it excess baggage. And the more baggage you have, the heavier it is and the harder it is to get ahead. So what's the best way to do it? If you're climbing a mountain and you got a backpack full of crap and you can only get 4 steps and you're out of wind, what should you do? Well, you need to lighten that backpack. Well, you never know what I might have. Well, what do you have? Well, I got one of the college refrigerators in my backpack. I got chairs. Wait a minute, you don't need all that stuff. Get rid of it. You just need the basics, food, shelter, and up the hill you go. And that's the way life is, and that's the way business is you need to lighten the load, have a goal, have great expectations of yourself. And the one thing that I would shy away from is having expectations of other people. And the reason I say that is because you have no control over anyone but yourself. And if you're setting unrealistic expectations on your children, your spouse, partner, what have you, then you need to reevaluate what you're doing, because it's not achievable and you have no control in it. So on that note, I hope you guys, let me know what you think about the video on the shop stuff. And I've asked in the video for you guys the stuff that I missed that's minor, that are fast movers, to put it in the videos. And the way I try to end the video is if you're learning something or you're getting something from it, and you think it might help somebody else, could you like, subscribe, and share? You know, one of the things that when I approach this channel, because this channel isn't about me, it's about you guys, and you guys also help me. But I wanted a way to pass on information, good information that would help people that are starting out in business or in life, you know, and not cost anything. I don't charge anything for anything that I do, okay? And there's a reason behind it, because I want you to succeed. Where these marketers, all they care about is their wallets. Not me. I care about you. And if you know somebody else that could use and watch some of the videos to help them, it doesn't have to be small engine repair, then just pass it on. Because the more people we have involved, the better the group is and the stronger the group is. We don't need a gazillion subscribers. We just need a good core group that really want to teach, and we need a core group that really wants to learn. On that note, you guys have a great Wednesday, and we'll see you here bright and early Thursday. Hopefully I haven't put you to sleep. All right.